So, I want to talk about the gameplay in Dying Light 2, because honestly, it's incredible, despite the complete drag of a story. But before I dive into what makes it so great, I gotta rewind a little bit. I originally played this game on PS4 at launch. Let me tell you, it was rough. Frame rates were all over the place, voice lines were out of sync or just completely missing, and the overall experience just felt super broken. And what made things worse is the game was mostly playable in Old Villedor, so I was pushing through, hoping for the best, thinking things were okay, but the moment I hit the central loop, the performance took a complete nosedive. And that really stung because you need to invest a decent amount of time just to even get there. By that point, I was too deep in, and I had to see it through. And you know what? Even with all those issues, I still finished the game. I kept playing until my character had every perk unlocked. Then I took a long break until now. Recently, I decided to pick the game up after years of not playing it. This time on the PS5, and I am loving it. The story is still horrible, and I don't have many or if any positive things to say about it. But today I want to focus on the gameplay, which is ironic because I usually play games with the story and not the gameplay. But this is the exception. Combat. While it's not my absolute favorite part of the game, I still really love the combat in Dying Light 2. It feels incredibly fluid, dodging enemies, pulling off perfect parries, it's all so satisfying. One thing I genuinely appreciate is the lack of guns. Well, mostly. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a second. That decision makes the world feel more grounded, like a true return to a gritty, old-school apocalypse where you have to rely on your fists, feet, and whatever you can swing. Hand-to-hand combat just hits different. It's intense, especially when you're low on health, and dodging like your life depends on it. Because it does. Let's be real. Nothing in this game is more fun than drop-kicking enemies, though. I've done it 1,000 times, and it never gets old. Just launching a bandit off a rooftop is amazing. Now those guns I mentioned earlier, yes, there is one and more you can get later, but it's a pistol. But only after completing a very long side quest, and while that might seem like a basic weapon, it actually packs a serious punch mid-game. The catch? Ammo is rare, so it feels like you're using it more like a strategic type of decision, than a crutch. It completely shifts how you approach combat when you have it. The best part is the pistol is just the beginning. Later, you can get other SMGs, more weapons, so on and so forth, but still. Parkour. One of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason I'm making this video, is to talk about the parkour, because honestly, I love it. Traversal in Dying Light 2 is insanely fun and fluid. In most games, I end up using fast travel all the time, just to skip from one story beat to the next, because remember, I'm more of a story person, not a gameplay person. But here, I barely use it, and that alone says a lot. You start out pretty limited, your stamina runs out in seconds, and even climbing feels like a struggle. But over time, you really grow into a more capable, agile version of Aiden. Bit by bit, you unlock skills, movement becomes smoother, and suddenly you're flying across rooftops like it's second nature. Then you hit the central. The paraglider doesn't just give you new ways to explore, it helps you escape the chaos on the ground and dive straight into the sky whenever you need to. And then there's the grappling hook. It's still super solid, definitely more realistic than the first game's version, but it actually takes a little bit of skill to use. That said, even if it's a little less believable, I still prefer the first game's grappling hook. It's just so much more fun. You don't even get the grappling hook until you're about 60% through the story, but once you do, it completely changes how you move. I always keep it ready. Instead of always relying on jumps, you start looking above you, finding new points to grapple to, reaching places you couldn't otherwise. You don't realize how much you needed it until you finally have it. That's what I love so much about. In short, Dying Light 2 is a gameplay masterpiece with many flaws. It completely falls flat when it comes to the story, has solid but not perfect combat, but it absolutely shines in its traversal. There are very few games that impress me with the movement the way this one does, and that's why I still hold it in such a high regard. If it hadn't been so broken on launch, and if the story wasn't such a snoozer, I really believe Dying Light 2 would be remembered way more fondly than it is today. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. What do you think about Dying Light 2? Its gameplay, its story, everything. Drop a comment below. Thank you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.